Okay, here we are on the Underdark Earth Priestess. Here are the stats as listed. Wisdom is your main stat. We are a divine caster, and we are going to be undead once we hit level 3. I have no gear. I'm not using any of this stuff. Go to level 7, do the build. So we do use magic device, heal, spellcraft. And at level 1, I put 1 point into perform because we do some sonic. And I put 1 point into tumble. That way, if I tumble, I actually will tumble. My domain as an Earth Priestess is Earth. This is great because for Hardcore League because it gives us access to a very good SLA for Acid Arrow. It gives us a free cast of Stone Skin. You don't need any resources to cast it, which is it's great in heroics. And then the next tier after that is Earthquake. We get Earthquake as an SLA that we can meta magic, and it becomes ruinous and decimates everything that we use it on. So that's why this is a very great. A lot of people will choose other domains for the Hardcore League, but the Earth domain is very fun and it's very effective. Great for a group, but you can solo as well. Now you can, if you wanted to, you could swap out Empower, which is the next on the build slip, for Shield Mastery here if you wanted extra hit points, because this will improve your heroic durability. So if it's your first time on hardcore, or if you really want to sort of give yourself an edge to not die early, you could use this here. I am going to stick to the build as posted. Basically what you do, you swap Empower and Shield. So instead of taking Empower at 3, you take Shield Mastery at 3, and then at level 9, you would take Empower. But, we'll stick to the build as I posted it, because it works fine. You get a really good self-heal, so it's not like you need to worry about the hit points, but every hit point on Hardcore League counts. It's very important, so certainly is something that you could do there. So here's our first SLA, improved domain Acid Arrow. We're going to apply all of our meta magics to that, and it's a quick cast, so it allows us to do really good damage early, and most everything takes damage to acid early game, except for a few different monsters. Most take acid damage. We are Drow, so I am a follower of Volcor. That's the build is posted, but you could take a different deity if you really wanted to, and it wouldn't really matter. It's a flavor thing. This just allows me to get bonuses when I use the face sword, the short sword from the Fey Dark Illusionist, which we utilize for defensives. Level 6, so we always take Quicken at level 6. That allows us to quicken our color spray that we get from Fey Dark Illusionist, which is our main crowd control. So we become very versatile. We have really good crowd control. We have a bunch of different utility spells. And we are undead. So we are going Dark Apostate. We are not using the War Priest tree. For now, we're not using any other trees. Later on, we could switch and use that. But for now, we'll do as listed. One racial, there's that. And then my universal goes into Fey Dark. The first thing we need to do is lock down the basic immunities. So the basic immunity that we get here is You've Got My Back. Now the reason that I always use this, because people have said to me, well, you get you get access to cast at level 1 Night Shield, and that makes you immune to magic missiles. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But this cannot be dispelled. So if you forget, for hardcore league, it's all about increasing the odds that you survive, right? So if for some reason you forgot to cast this and you got nuked by magic missiles, you could die. This cannot be stripped off by a beholder's anti-magic ray. This is permanent. So I always go for that. So I have it. That means my character is 100% immune to magic missile no matter what. Doesn't matter what I'm fighting. I could be surrounded by beholders and they cannot hit me with magic missiles. The next that I do that's super important is fear immunity. Because on the hardcore league we don't know what the champions do. So Reality Bulwark gives you at tier 3 immunity to fear. It's cheap to get there. We've only spent 10 points, and so now I've got permanent magic missile immunity and fear immunity. I'm also going to take my wisdom and my color spray. So for now, I'm done in this Fey Dark Illusionist. Over here in Dark Apostate, and you could actually rush this at level 3 because you gain access to this at level 3. So you want to take basically this and this are the first two things that you want to get, those defensives. You probably could survive without this, but getting this undead stance first is very helpful because it will give you all the immunities of being undead. This Apostate's Curse is our Imbue toggle, which is also very important early because we are going to be swinging our short sword, so we want to get that. So what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll take 10 hit points from here, and then I take my undead stance. So right now we are done technically with all of this. So what I do from here, because I only really wanted just to get undead, you can proceed up and get some of these skills. But to be honest, the Dark Apostate tree beyond making you undead is not very strong. There are some good things in there, but what I found is more helpful. The early game build changes, and for the end game we wind up in Fey Dark Illusionist and Divine Disciple, and we completely drop the undead stance because we just will have a lot stronger heals. We go 41 points in Fey Dark Illusionist, and then we go 31 points in Divine Disciple, starting from the left and going right. You don't want to put points into the right because that's the dark path. We are going to get Searing Light as an SLA and then Chaos Hammer as an SLA. Very strong later. Much stronger than this tree. Really, the only good thing in this Dark Apostate tree is the Undead stance, which is very important for the early game. Our main SLA for early is the Shadow Blade. The Shadow Blades are powerful spells, so we also have our Acid Arrow. So if you didn't know, you can stand if you're on a regular server, you can stand next to this dude and set your spells. So the first thing that we want to take is either Holy Smite or Chaos Hammer. I like Chaos Hammer, but Holy Smite is probably equal, if not better. We won't need Death Ward, but it's probably one of the spells that you should take if you're running with people to help them out. Cast Death Ward or Freedom of Movement. But because I'm undead, I don't need Death Ward. I have immunity by being undead from death effects. So this is our SLA for Acid Arrow. It costs 4 spell points, and we have all our meta magics on it. First level 3 spell that we take always is Searing Light, because Searing Light is very strong. I like to take Remove Disease because it, again, we don't know what certain champions on the Hardcore League will have. And Mass Aid is also extremely important because that will give people temporary hit points. Spawn Screen is useful. Sound Burst is the other spell that we want for DPS. Resist Energy always on Hardcore. And then probably the most useful spell for us in this is Lesser Restoration. Night Shield will give us more MRR when we use it with I've Got Your Back. Protection from Evil is always very helpful. Remove Fear is good if you're pugging to help people out if they get feared and they don't have fear immunity. And Command is always good. You could take Bless, but Aid has Bless as part of it, so we don't need to take it. I want to key a heal for myself, so I will put the strongest one that I have. And when I cast this on myself, I can't cast it in public, but it does a pretty decent heal. And the gear is garbage that they give us. This is good, the Devotion Nullification Ring. That's a reward from Tangle Root. That's good. A shield is always helpful, and this is just starter heavy armor. Here I always select the Throwing Dagger, and this is, you always want to find a returning throwing dagger or star or some sort of a weapon that you can use. You always want to be able to have a ranged weapon on you. Here we are, Red Fang Elite, pretending we're on Hardcore League. Give myself fire resist. Got my sword. Just going to jump through these traps.
Desiccated corpses line the walls and hang from the ceiling. Dead assistants or failed adventurers.
The acid from our acid arrow hits pretty hard. We have all of our meta magics on it. I am immune to poison as an undead, so I can just step on these little eggs. I don't have to worry about poison at all because I am undead, so completely immune to it. And we do pretty decent damage at low level. Very, very strong being undead at low level heroic because you do not drown in water. You don't take poison damage. So a lot of the obstacles that would kill other characters you can just ignore. So they're very similar to Warforged in that way.
2 signal crystals rest on either side of the metal door. Platforms
and I have no feather fall, so I have to be careful. Oh, I made that jump. That's a hard jump. Okay, I'm going to refresh the aid on me. Get my temporary hit points. Going to see if these... They probably won't take damage from Chaos Hammer. Oh, they took a little. Sound Burst should hit them and maybe stun them. And I'll hit them all with my acid. The only thing about Searing Light is that they can walk right out of it. Okay, gonna jump through this trap here.
a dangerous-looking spider crawls from the shadows, hungry for a meal. venom becomes still as you end its life.
And there's a trap at this door. So it's safe when it's visible. You can run through it. My heal's not bad. 61 for the self-heal for inflict critical.
A signal crystal is set in the wall. Perhaps it is tied to a door somewhere. Though there appears to be a way through the spikes,
God, the lag. I don't know what they did. Oh, see that? I got lagged off of that into the trap. So this is this type of thing that if it happened on hardcore, that could have killed me because I fell onto a barrel, but the trap is active and right there. So that lag that now exists on the server because of whatever change they did, haloed and broke something. So now I have to run through this trap to get out of here and likely die. Nope, I didn't die, but sure, the lag like that will contribute to people dying on Hardcore League. Here on this test server, it doesn't matter. But in Hardcore, you'd have to start over again. All because lag. All because they coded something incorrectly and it's haloing out. Halo is basically when they make a change in the code and it causes an unexpected problem. The code function diffuses, basically. So we are undead. We don't have to worry about this trap at all. My jump is not very high.
a deadly-looking scorpion crawls forward to challenge you. Miles' chitinous body clatters to the floor.
Okay, I'm going to
The
refresh.
here are thicker, as if a
Fire
more
resist.
potent silk were being spun by the spiders.
And mass. Now I'm out of mana, so it's going to be an interesting fight against the boss because I'm not going to be able to nuke. However, we should be okay. Let's see if I can run through that trap. I did. So if I stopped, I would have taken damage in that trap, but I didn't stop. I just kept running. I don't think I have what it takes to find this. Nope. I have 13 mana, so I can cast...
Chittering noises of alarm
My
rise
acid
around
spell.
you as you breach the heart of Red Fang's lair.
And then run in and just swing my sword. Put the acid spell on another mob. And get it on another mob. Okay, so now the acid dot is on every mob. And it will do its thing. We'll burn them down. Okay, now it's just Red Fang. I'm going to refresh the dot on her. She completely ignored that spell that I hit her with. Wonder if that's a bug.
Red Fang collapses in a heap, twitching and hissing as life ebbs from its body.
So I could have been better with my mana management, but all in all, still very simple. Very solo-friendly class, very good for groups. Especially if you're running with other undead, you can cross-heal each other. Wisdom, you want to get wisdom gear, some better heavy armor like this here. This death block, physical sheltering 8 armor is very good. If you were turning undead, this sacred armor would be pretty good. It has negative heal amp on it. That would help us. Or then any of these shields, you know, would be helpful.